Got some big breaking news this morning from AT&T, the company paying about $23 billion in cash for spectrum licenses from EchoStar. The licenses in the mid-band and low-band spectrum, where they range in terms of coverage, more than 400 markets in the U.S. They will expand AT&T's 5G network capabilities. It's also going to expand availability of AT&T's fixed wireless home internet service known as AT&T Internet Air. In the release, AT&T reiterating its full-year guidance as well as previously announced plans to buy back up to $20 billion of its own shares. Joining us right now, talk about all of this, John Stankey, AT&T CEO. John, it's great to see you this morning. Tell us about this transaction and how it transforms AT&T. We're also, by the way, we should mention, for those folks who are shareholders of EchoStar this morning, that stock up about 70% on the back of this news.
Well, good morning, Andrew. It's good to be with you. And look, this is just another step in what we started 5 years ago, which was to assemble the best class of assets in this country for telecommunication services and make sure that we could offer the best connectivity out to our customer base and anybody else. And we've been on a steady march since that time. And I feel like this is the last building block from an asset perspective to really have us in a position to be the best in the industry. And we're really excited about it because it's going to accelerate our growth. It's going to dramatically improve service. It's going to be good for consumers because it's going to take fallow spectrum that hasn't been in service and move it out there pretty quickly. And we think this is a win-win all the way around, not only for our company, but for consumers.
In terms of the spectrum, how much of this is about fixed line wireless versus the more classic mobile phone business?
It's both, Andrew, because first of all, there's certainly opportunities where we will not build fiber. And we know that there are areas that we have customers that want to have consolidated services that are wireless only. And this gives us the flexibility and the opportunity to serve both businesses and consumers, no matter where they are in the United States. Where we have fiber, we'll do that as fiber first. This is a great opportunity to seed in places where we're going to build fiber, where we can generate revenues now. And then as we come in behind that with the infrastructure, ultimately roll it over. And then as you start to think about what's next is AI. And it's about really important workloads, in particular, aggressive upstream workloads. And the combination of the spectrum that we have here and what we're able to do will not only give us the capacity for downstream data into consumers' handsets and other IoT devices, but it will also allow us to engineer an upstream that's going to be really, really important in the next generation of technology.
John, I don't know if you've briefed regulators about this transaction yet or not, but can you walk through your just analysis of how regulators are going to look at this and the larger sort of competitive landscape right now?
Well, regulators, of course, are going to do their diligence and go through a process like they always do, and I expect that to happen. But of course, anytime we get into a transaction like this, we like to pay attention to those things and spend time to understand what's going on. And in particular, with our counterparty under a consent decree associated with the Sprint T-Mobile merger and the startup of their business, it has an extra twist on this. And I know that they've been in active discussions with the Department of Justice associated with that. As I said earlier, I think this is a win all the way around. It gets fallow spectrum into the market. More capacity is good for consumers. It's good for the depth of network. It adds for resiliency in the event that there's an unfortunate circumstance where somebody else in the industry loses a network from a natural disaster or some other kind of activity. It's a fantastic opportunity to see more services put together in the way customers want to buy them together. And as a result of that, I think ultimately regulators are going to look at this and say it's very, very attractive. And as you notice in the announcement, we're going to continue to be an important wholesale provider to EchoStar. We'll be supporting their Boost brand on our network, so they'll continue to be operating in the market as a competitor. They have a very attractive construct around that, and we think all the way around this actually fosters better capacity, better competition, and a better position in the market than where we sit today. And we think there's going to be a good review on that.
John, I wanted to ask your view on the 10% government stake in Intel and the idea of more national champions with government ownership becoming a thing in the years ahead. AT&T, I guess, historically is a bit of a national champion in its own right. Is this something that's a good thing for America? and capitalism and competition in America, or a bad thing?
Well, good morning, Wilfred. Look, first of all, if the government wants to go into the market and buy some of my stock, anybody who wants to buy, that's a good thing. I'm not in the business of necessarily giving it away, but we're not in the same set of circumstances that other companies are in. And I certainly understand if there's an entity that wants to come in and support a balance sheet in some way, and the markets aren't going to address that, and somebody decides that's the right industrial policy, such as the bailout of the auto industry and what took place around that, and the government decides that because they were able to provide that capital, something could occur that they choose to get something out of it. I kind of get that in that regard. I don't think ultimately over time we want a dynamic where governance is interrupted by government decision making, and hopefully that balance is struck.